This is the Muddy Boots Podcast, a podcast for those who have been or are stuck in the mud. Building a community of those who are with each other all the way. Well, hello and welcome to the Muddy Boots Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
And I'm Roger.
And today we have a guest.
We do. And this is Greg Lane. He's one of the volunteer chaplains we have at the YMCA that went through the chaplain training program.
Yeah. How are you,
Hello,
Greg?
everyone.
You can relax.
Yeah, just you calm down.
Yeah, this is not like,
No.
I'm doing good.
It's maybe not like a
We're not
podcast you've
60
been on
minutes.
before.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many podcasts you've been on before, but it's not like those.
No.
Cool.
So I know you. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pretend like we don't know each other. That would be dumb and inauthentic. So I know you because you serve on a team at church.
Right.
You're mobile team director.
Yep.
So I know that you love to sail.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that.
I have a friend the great thing is I love to sail, but I don't have any of the expense associated with it. I mean, it's the best of both worlds. I have a friend of mine, an old high school classmate of mine, interestingly enough, found out he lives out here, so he has a sailboat down on the Columbia River, so him and I will go sail on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. It's just great, learning how to sail. It's always been a bucket list thing. Great being out on the water. I mean, there's something really amazing out there when you're gliding across the water, right? When you got the full sails behind your back. But then there's other times when we're out there where it's not such good smooth sailing. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe the tide's going against us, wind's dead, nothing to fill our sails, mechanical problems. We've run into those a few times, you know. Or then you start getting some stormy weather, choppy waves, choppy current, things like that.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Okay, did you say your friend from high school?
Actually, growing up, all through and now the funny thing is, his nephew married my niece, so now we're kind of family.
Okay.
But this is all from grade school on up.
And where are you from?
Pueblo, Colorado.
So
And you're all out here.
And we're out here.
Go ahead.
He had moved up here to go to college at UW. Fell in love with sailing there. Then he'd gotten married to a gal that's down in the Wilsonville area, and her family's there, but they had moved to Chicago. So he sailed out there in Chicago a lot, has his own company, and they decided to move back here. And it was interesting because his nephew said, hey, I happened to be home one time, and they said, guess who his uncle is? It's Mick Wilson. And I'm just going, no way. And he lives out in the Portland area.
And he's got a boat.
And I like sailing.
And I like sailing. Maybe I'll look him up.
So it was like
such a dork. By the way, let's go ahead. The obvious here.
Yeah.
You have a cast on.
I do.
Right. We didn't talk about that. We just we skipped right by
right
it.
over it. Yeah. So it's not an elephant, but it's in the room.
So what
pink elephant.
Mm-hmm. We talked. People knew you were going into surgery.
Yes.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
How's it been? How long has it been now? And
I went in January 30th, and I woke up from surgery, and then you should know this. My favorite hobby. This is my 11th surgery, and every time I wake up from surgery, I call everybody.
You should know this, he says, like this podcast is for me.
I know. Well, he should know. I don't know if you. I might have called you. I don't know who's watching. But yeah, and I typically, first stop coming out from the hospital is where? Here. Mm-hmm. And I was explicitly told, don't show up to work an hour after surgery. So I did it. I went home.
Good for you.
This one kind of scared me because I didn't want to screw it up. Right? They replaced the whole ankle. I didn't even know you could do that until they did. Right? I mean, most people get hips and knees. I get shoulders and ankles.
Huh?
No. Got to be different. And so the whole story behind the pink part is when they went to put the cast on, they said, hey, we got multiple colors. Yeah. And I go, cool. And he goes, yeah, we got normal white. And then we got black, and we got blue, and we got green. Then he paused because I wasn't
You weren't biting on any of those.
Yeah. He goes, well, we do have pink. I go, Exactly. And that's why I have a pink
It's
cast.
great.
I know.
I think it's great. And you got your toes painted today?
I know. I don't know. If they're pink.
You're not going to be able to see it.
They
but-
can't say. You're going to have to take his word for it.
Or his word for
Or
it.
his word
He
for
actually has a better view of the pink toenails right now.
They're pink.
Yeah, they're pink.
So good job.
Thanks.
So that's crazy. That's all. That's all. We
Enough
needed.
of that?
Yeah.
Enough.
So that's crazy, by the way, that
It's a weird story,
you're
isn't
from
it?
high school together and you end up in Colorado and
Yep.
related.
And related
Well,
now.
whatever, family.
Now, however you want to call it.
So I'm a big fan of sailing as well. I don't get to do it because I don't have a best friend who I went to high school with
That has a
That
boat.
has a
who
boat.
has a boat, lives on the river. But
Does he have a van?
but I do have a friend who has a friend who has a sailboat who could invite me.
Yeah, do I? You know,
Yeah.
Just say it.
I will do that. You're invited.
Okay.
You're invited then.
God, I feel like a third wheel.
So
Well, you kayak though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's two different
I canoe.
disciplines. Canoe.
yeah, he'd be very careful, but he doesn't
See?
kayak.
Canoe.
Okay, so choppy waters. There's all sorts of different things you have to navigate when you're out there.
Yeah.
So thinking about that, I know that this can serve as a metaphor for life, right?
Yes.
I mean, clearly, things like this are ways that we explain. You know, like we say, for instance, when we're going through something, we're going through a storm.
Going through a storm
Right.
or a season or, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of nautical terms in there.
Yeah.
So you've had quite the season,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why we brought you on here.
Yeah. It's been about a year and a half. It's been kind of a tough haul. A lot of little things. You know, if you think about this, everybody's going to have adversity in their life. We all have got storms, right? Nobody's immune from it. They're going to happen. Some of them are our own doing. Some of them we're just innocently going about our life and we're getting blindsided. A health scare, whatever, right? But you're going to go through them. And we went through our chaplain training, and a couple of the courses that we went through really kind of came home to me during this last season.
Which ones were they?
One was stress management. Okay, and the other one was spiritual transformation. You know, as I looked at this and I came out of this storm and I started looking at it, okay, what were my big takeaways from this? What did I learn from this? How can I give myself more tools to be able to handle these kinds of storms as they come, right? If you've got a one or two event coming at you, you can kind of navigate those. But when you got a whole series of them, they just keep coming at you left and right, and you're just going, wow, man, you know?
Yeah. When's the kicking going to stop?
It's like quicksand, you know? It just, the harder you struggle, you just keep sinking deeper and deeper and you know. Muddy. So as I looked through this, and the last time I went through kind of a major storm season like this, like 5 years ago, and I really was not equipped to walk through it very well. It took me a lot longer to kind of recover and go through it. There was a lot of growth in that, and you were a big part of that.
Yeah.
And then getting into the chaplaincy program. But in this case, as I looked at it, I thought, you know, what was in my toolbox this time that actually made a difference for me? And I really looked at it as three major things that helped. One was community. You know, having people in your life that you could confide on, that you can trust. You know, they're not there to fix it. They don't judge you. They're there to support you in whatever you need them for. You know, and that's part of what we learn as a chaplain.
Right.
That's one of our primary functions. Right? So the importance of community. You don't walk this alone. Don't try walking through storms alone. Okay? You just don't.
Yeah, you'll
know.
get stuck.
You'll get stuck.
So you need somebody to come along and help you.
You know, and then, you know, when you think about community and those people that you can have in your life that you can confide in and trust, you know, from my faith background, you know, everybody hears the story of Job. Well, he had friends that were his community, only those are not the friends you want when you're going through storms.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because all they wanted to do was tell him the things that he had done wrong to put him in this place, or trying to tell him how to fix it. It's maybe well-intentioned, but that's not the kind of community and friends you really need when you're going through storms.
So what did you find? How did you, like, you talk a little bit about the community that you had.
Yeah.
And the difference, you had some tools this time in your tool belt, right?
Yeah.
To handle it.
Yeah.
So what did that look like?
Well, you know, for communities, one is being a little more vulnerable and honest and open with people around you that you can trust. Shedding some light, letting them in to know that, hey, I'm not okay. Everything's not okay today, and not being afraid to open up and share that with somebody.
Yeah, you're more comfortable taking your mask off.
Yeah, taking that mask off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
That played a role, a big role. Another, element of all that was stress management, understanding how going through the storms creates all this stress in your body, the physical things that happen to you, and the tools you can put in place to manage that stress, and actually understanding physiologically what stress does to you, all the chemicals it releases in your body, how it affects you, prolonged exposure to stress, and we learned that in our stress management class.
Right, you're addicted to adrenaline.
Yeah, and and it just wears your body out, and it starts to take an impact on it, and psychologically and physical, and in looking at stress, it's like one thing we learned in our course about stress management is the origin of stress. What's the precursor to stress? The precursor to stress is anxiety, right? And so now that's where your faith system comes in. Okay, so
and what's the
that's part
definition
the
of
thing.
anxiety, Greg?
Yeah, all the crazy thoughts going on in my head, like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? What could happen here? What could happen here? I mean, you're just playing out 1,000 things.
Something bad is going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it.
So, that third pillar is now, okay, I need a strong faith system that talks to me about that.
Right.
Okay. What is my faith system? And my particular faith system, there talks a lot about anxiety. My Bible, talks a lot about anxiety, how to handle it, what it has to say about anxiety, where to put my faith and trust in and my assurance. Not an easy thing to do. I mean, if I graded myself through all of those things, I'd say I probably came out of it with a C.
Yeah.
That's
pretty good.
I didn't handle my anxiety as well as I should have, or as well as I'm instructed to. I have a lot of the tools at myself, but I had my moments like Job did, where it's like, I'm going to have my audience with God, and you know what, we're going to have it out. Well, I'm not handling my anxiety very well.
But at least now you've got the tools to self-reflect.
Exactly.
And not just be pushed and pulled and not know why.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something real quick, because you mentioned faith. You mentioned your community, right?
Yes.
Your faith community. So some people who are listening to this are not thinking, oh, if I'm struggling, my faith community is the people who are going to understand or be sort of supportive of things like anxiety, depression. Those types of words have a tendency to be taboo in the church.
Right.
We've talked a lot about that.
Right.
But like, how did you experience it in your faith community? Our faith community, Rhapsody, which is here at the YMCA. How was that? Well, maybe talk about how was that different from what you'd experienced before?
Well, so I grew up in a conservative evangelical church. And in that church, we had a laundry list of the do's and don'ts that identified you as a good Christian, right? And so one of the things, though, that always bothered me was that there was this judgmentalism that went along that if life ain't going perfect for you, if you've got bad stuff happening, much like Job's friends, you must not be a good Christian. You've done something wrong to incur God, that God's punishing you.
Yeah.
right? So then there's all this guilt and all this pressure you start putting on yourself going, oh God, what are we doing? I got to go fat. I got to go, sacrifice a bull or something, So you're left with this really just this circular, this rat wheel you get on, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward today now, I'm in a whole different type of church, something that was completely foreign to me when I first came here. And the big difference is that it's not a reflection on whether you've done something good or bad. This is life. Life happens, right? Right? I love movie quotes, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's my favorite one? It's like, there's no such thing as normal Wyatt. There's just life. Get on with it. Right? It happens.
Right.
It's part of life. So having that community that didn't sit there and judge me for going through bad things, he said, how can we walk with you?
Yeah.
Not an invasive walk either. Like, hey, listen, getting in what, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. It's
I'm
like,
here
no,
to
it's
fix
just like,
you. They're not trying to fix you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're not trying to fix me. They're there to walk with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I love about having the church in the YMCA is because we, as Greg knows, we hit people from left field in chaplaincy when they're coming in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whenever somebody comes in to join or whatever, they'll ask a question, why are you coming in? Well, I want to lose a little weight or I want to get in better shape. Mm-hmm. Ask another open-ended question. There's a reason they got in the shape they're in.
Right.
Or the place they're in. Next thing you know, they're talking to a chaplain. And it's that same thing, right? Life happened.
Yep.
And they're in a situation where they don't feel that they can go in.
Yeah.
And people like Greg grab them, drag them into Rhapsody, and boom,
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah. So what's so that was, how long did this season, because you say you
This is like 18 months.
yeah, so this is like wave after wave after
just
wave.
wave after wave after wave of things hitting me.
So how, not all of that's resolved, I'm sure.
No.
But what, so talk a little bit about maybe now, like what's resolved, what hasn't, you don't have to get into specifics,
Yeah.
but just like.
So, like, one of the things resolved is, okay, in St. Francis of Assisi's prayer, right? The ability to accept the things that I can't change.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'd had to learn through that process.
Yeah.
This situation is the way it is, can't be changed. So how do I live with it and accept it? That was one. Okay. Another one was learning how to look at each day just for the day it was, not trying to project out what's going to be, what does it look like a week from now? What does it look like 2 weeks from now? That helped a lot with anxiety, right? Because I've got a promise that there is a better tomorrow, that I will be provided for, that I'm being looked for after and cared. So I've got that promise, and there's that faith part that we fail at miserably sometimes, right? But I have that promise. So learning to live with that promise, and be at peace with it.
Yeah. As you drive the car of life down the road of life, you're forced to look through the windshield. That's called faith. Yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't easy for me. I mean, like with the work I do for a living, I do these implementations. I go and people are at point A, I need them to get to M, and I need to get there by passing a half dozen letters in between, right? This is the quickest, best way to get there. So it's always processes and projecting out forward. So pulling back and looking at each day, just this is what's on the plate today, deal with it.
The process.
A process.
Yeah, being present.
Yeah, being present.
Being present. Yeah.
And again, that goes back to, that was one of the key parts of our chaplain training is what are we? We're a ministry of present. Be present. Be in the moment.
Right.
It's not that stupid YOLO thing. It's being here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't be doing the dishes when you're sitting in front of somebody. You better be present to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know. And so not only when I'm with somebody being present, but actually just me personally being present in the moment of what's going on around me and what I'm dealing with at that moment.
So this is helping you sit with people too.
Yes.
Who are having the same sorts of struggles.
Yeah.
Do you maybe just, what would you say to somebody? Because I know you see people all the time that are struggling with in their storms or whatever. But many times we say this, that people get stuck, and we are here to lift people up.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who maybe feels stuck in their storm?
Stuck in your storm. One is get that community of people that you could talk to, that you can confide in, that you can be vulnerable. Take that mask off. Okay, they're not there trying to fix you. They're not judging you. They're there to walk with you. Find those people. Okay. Second thing is a belief system, a faith system. What is it that tells you about life? What does it tell you about the storm you're experiencing, how to handle it? And if you do have a belief system and a faith system, there should be lessons in there for those things.
Right.
Most of them do, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all the different worldviews, they all have lessons about how to handle things.
Yeah, and you know what we need to do
So
some of these
explore
things
that.
is those hidden worldviews. Remember the hidden
Yeah.
worldviews that can pervert a worldview?
Yeah.
So many times that comes into it. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that on the next one.
Maybe.
Yeah. So again, have that faith system and belief system and leverage off of it. Rely on it. Seek it out. And then the third thing is, and again, I can't go back to this enough, is the stress management. Because your body is going to go through stress, period. You're going through a storm, you're going to go through stress. Okay?
True.
So understand what causes stress, understand what stress does to your body, and then understand all those chemicals that it's releasing has an effect on you, and how you can actually manage it.
And release it.
In positive ways. You can change your diet. You can set some, don't have to be rigid, some exercise routines, some schedules. One of the things we did in a spiritual transformation was establishing what they call a rhythm of life. Right? So when you have that rhythm of life established, it's going to help you get through those moments where you just want to give up and sit down and things like that. But you've got this rhythm of life you've developed. So it kind of kicks in like muscle memory almost.
Absolutely.
It's funny. We all had about an 18-month to 2-year storm not too long ago, right? Where all of us were in COVID.
It was just,
and it's so interesting to me that so many of us, it feels in some ways like a wasted opportunity for some, where it's like opportunity. I know that sounds interesting, but like just that in that moment where we were all just in a terrible situation.
yeah.
Like I didn't learn the lessons that I think I should have learned in that time frame.
But here's the thing. You say it's a wasted opportunity, but when you're in the midst of that kind of a storm, like COVID, and Greg can tell you this, you're not in the space to accept, right?
That's true.
We're still dealing with COVID.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'm a busy duck, and I know Greg's
And
a
I
busy
am,
duck. There's more counseling going on than meets the eye with this whole thing of social isolation and loneliness. There's people who are still afraid to leave the house.
Right.
I mean, stress and anxiety, and just look around us, right? The last one with I didn't vote for him, right? I mean, we've got all that. So there's still work to be done.
There is.
And
There
Greg
is.
knows this.
Yeah, it's true. So we can still, what you're saying essentially is we still have an opportunity.
To learn
There
from,
is,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about this for you? Like, because I know you went into this surgery with you were kind of freaked out about it.
Anxiety.
This one, because I'm a busy guy.
Yeah.
And like when they replaced my shoulder and things, I could still walk. I could still do this. You've got to elevate this above your heart for the first 2 weeks and not move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't do that very well.
Not at all. No. And so I was afraid I'd screw it up. right?
Yeah.
And then they put the cast on. They said, okay, you can move. Just can't touch the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen me? Right? Yeah. So, and I've done pretty good with it.
Yeah.
I have it. It really hasn't touched. The hardest part is like if I'm getting a ride somewhere and it's touching the floorboard, it can get a little. But there's no weight really on it because I'm not standing on it. It's just there. But yeah, I mean, so I had anxiety. But I've had to eat some of my own dog food. But I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am.
That's great. This might seem like a weird question, but it just came to mind.
Okay.
So I'm big into like the idea of yacht life.
Yacht life.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listening to some yacht rock, lounging.
Mm-hmm.
Just go with me here. So what's the difference between a sailboat and a yacht?
Oh, God, there's a world of difference. Well, one, sails, big cloth things, right? Yachts are always fully under motor. They don't have sails, okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of activity. So here's what's really funny about sailing. Like, we sail on the river, so we're always having to do something. But if you're doing open water sailing is this is explained to me, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping to, is it's hours of boredom followed by or interrupted by intense minutes of insane activity. Like all of a sudden, it's all hands on deck. You're pulling ropes, you're letting sails in and out, guys spinning the wheel and everything else, and it's just crazy.
Okay.
Until it calms down again. And then it's just boredom. Like open water sailing, you can sit there with no wind, you're just sitting there.
Okay.
Not going anywhere, you're just bobbing up and down.
See, I'm so glad you
What's that?
explained that because what Matt thought the difference between a yacht and a sailboat is when you got tired of the yacht, you would sell your boat and it would be for sale.
It's so
got it?
dumb.
Sailboat.
It's like you just never stop. It's like
never.
it's just 100% on.
I thought he was going to jump on the bobbing up and down in water. I knew there was a no arms, low leg
Some
jokes
sort
coming
a-
out of
yeah.
that one.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Deep down in there, I'm sure there's something that he would like to say, but we're just not going to give him a chance to say it.
No
So,
respect.
yeah, I think what I was getting at really was, is life more like a yacht or like a sailboat?
Sailboat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
big time.
As much as we want it to be like a yacht.
Like I said, some of the best time is when the water is actually choppy, but you got that full head of sail behind you, filling the sails, and man, you're just boom, 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 and you're gliding, but you're also hearing it slap against the hull.
Yeah.
That's actually probably the coolest, rather than just a glassy, water that you're sailing across. It's some of that choppy water that you're gliding across.
Yeah.
That actually is really kind of the most adrenaline one, because you'll be leaning over on your side, things like that. It really gets the heart
The
going.
adventure.
And the difference between here's my old navigator, right? When a yacht, it's got a motor. You can drive directly into the storm. Not necessarily something I'd recommend, but you could.
You could.
You could go right into the center of that thing and just pound
Yep.
through it. A sailboat, you've got to tack.
You got to tack.
You got to make motions around it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're constantly moving and turning and navigating.
Adjusting.
Navigating.
And adjusting. Adjusting. I like that one. You're adjusting.
Well, this is good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
It's been good.
And don't forget, you've got people waiting in the office.
yeah.
You do? Oh, I thought maybe you had an appointment waiting for him
No.
on the other side of this.
Because I'm running around so much now, I really depend on
Greg's got
Every
stuff to
chance
do
that we
today,
got it.
okay?
Yeah.
He's got life to attend to. So if you can just put it on pause.
Back her down?
Yeah. For now, let the guy just live a little. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So thank you for
Thank you
joining
very
us
much.
today. It's good to
Thank
have
you.
you. Yeah.
Amen.
Thanks for tuning in. We, as always, would love you to like, subscribe, share this with those who you think would benefit from this content. Mm-hmm. And for now, signing off. We love you.
Love you.
But-
Thanks.